What's good, everyone? It's your boy Sifu G, the Esoteric Warrior. Welcome back to another podcast of the Tao of Kung Fu. This is part two. I've got Sifu John Lee here, and we're going to be talking about the combat side of Kung Fu, why it's not doing so well in combat sports. And Sifu John Lee's got a good story to tell you about when he was in China. How you doing, brother? Welcome back to part two.
Thank you for inviting me again. I hope I didn't bore everybody about my stuff,
No, they actually loved it, man. And before we even kick this off, for everyone that's watching, we are in no way trying to put down our arts. That is not what we're doing. We talk from the heart, and we understand that these arts are dying, and they're dying fast because we haven't got anyone out there representing the combat side of these lethal systems. And it's such a shame to see these arts dying just because people are just collecting forms and they're a Sifu and they have no combat experience. I'm not saying I'm the best fighter in the world. I'm nowhere near it. I've had experience. I've won competitions. I've won a gold medal in Hapkido. I've had 7 kickboxing fights, lost my first one, and I won the second and third division in judo back when I was in my late 30s. I was entering judo, and I got second and third in the comps. I'm quite knowledgeable when it comes to combat, and I've trained with some awesome Sifus here in Australia over my time. So that being said, we're not trying to put down our arts, so don't get your knickers in a knot. We love these systems and we don't want to see them die just because forms are the new thing. All right, Sifu John, kick it off, brother.
Well, just want to tell you guys about my experience in China. Probably around 2005, my brother went to China and he met a few friends that was in the Sanda circle. And then he said, this guy's really good. His name is Wang Zhekleung. And he was in the special police force. He's one of the trainer. And in fact, the special Chinese police force is like the SWAT team in America or the special forces in Australia.
They're tough. They're tough too. The Chinese have got a strong team.
Yeah.
Even Sanda fighters are really strong these days.
Okay, so Sanda in those days, the first Sanda one came out. It was pretty terrible, to Western standard of kickboxing and K1 and all that. But when I met this guy, he wanted to change the face of China, the way to do Sanda, and he wasn't traditionally trained. And so anyway, he invited me back to his place. He said, I met your brother, and your brother's Tongwang's very good, And I think he's from Xiuguan in Guangdong, which is all the Hakka people lived, So this guy, about 5'5", 5'6", wasn't very tall at all. And he took me back to his place.
That's my size, bro.
But I'll tell you, I met another guy on site today. He was from Jilin in Heilongjiang, which is Heilongjiang in Canada, Scotland. This guy, man, I'm telling you, is 7 foot tall, huge. Like he was in the lift there, today on site, and I said, man, like I spoke to him in Mandarin, man, you're a big guy, And it wasn't just the height; it's just the bulkiness of this guy, It's so solid. And anyway, getting back to Zhekleung, so this guy's only 5'5", 5'6", and I thought, he took me to his place, and I thought, okay, he doesn't look anything like it, that there's a fighter, And then he had this bag, this tall bag, about 5 foot, 6 foot tall, and it's on a big frame. And I asked him, I said, why don't you hang up on the ceiling? He said, the ceiling's not going to hold it in China. There was no crossbeam, all right? So anyway, he said, I'll build this thing, so this timber on the frame, this thing down there. So, I was thinking maybe, a lot of you guys go to the gym, right? And you buy a punching bag, what the first thing you get? It comes in with, stuff, clothes, like T-shirts and all that.
Rags.
When I hit this thing, And I'm not talking about Phoenix fist, right? No, that's I'm talking about just a normal fist, right? A tap choy, right? I went bang, hit it, and I thought, shit, this thing is solid, man. You know. I said, what you got in it? It's got pebble beans and the green beans and the pebbles in there. And I thought, shit, this guy's in business, you know. So I said, Joe, show me your kicks, you know. And he was really happy to show me, you know. He went whack, whack, whack. This thing weighed a lot of kilos. He moved a little half a meter, swinging as he kicking it. And I thought, far out. Like, one kick from this guy, you're going to go down. We used to just go up and down the hallway and kick the leg and train the conditioning. Like, you all seen this on video. But it's nothing like this guy, mate. This guy kicked you. So anyway, he said to me, look, want to play a little, I said, okay. I was a bit, hesitant because I know how heavy this kick is, So we're moving around there, and he knew I was going to charge in because I know that Tongwon, we had to close the gap. So as soon as I charge in, he start kicking me. But the kick is so fast, like I'm not talking about slow kick, whack, whack, And he lifted me on the thigh here, and I felt the pain, But I got in close, and I started using my Tongwon stuff like that. And he basically put his hands up like that, and I had to pull his hand down and get through the peso, right? But seriously, he would have got me first because his kick is so long and bang, when it got me, like I thought, shit, And then he just when we crashed together, that's when I found out, whoa, my Tongwon worked really well in that range. But he's also got his weapon onto me as well. So, it's like it was a good experience. And I thought, we kind of stopped there and we're shocked, looking at one another and going, whoa, pull back. And I asked him about his work. He said, well, I do that every day, catching thieves and catching criminals, using this Kung Fu. And that's really something that's not like competition. This guy's for real, he's out there to get you, and he's very well trained, but he's not classically trained. He's not traditionally trained. He's trained in Sanda. And so anyway, I showed him some Tongwon stuff and some moves and all that, and told me a story about the Qingwu, because I was part of the Qingwu. He said, I don't want to name which Qingwu, because I know which Qingwu, but I'm not going to name them, right? So anyway, he said, I know one famous in Guangdong. There's a Qingwu in Guangdong. Okay, he said. There was all these masters sitting down there having a meeting, and I'm talking about all different styles, right? We're talking about all the major styles was there, all the masters, but they were in there, probably 50, 60. I was there. I was probably around 30 something, right? And two guys charge in, Western guy, tall guy, white guy. I don't know if they were Scandinavian or English, but they came in and they want to challenge the Qingwu people. And I said to Zhou Liang, I said, what happened? He said, none of them got up because in Qingwu, in that region, they had a ring. They had a ring for, for boxing and stuff like that. Because Qingwu would also teach boxing as well, right? So none of this master will go up there to take their challenges, except for Zhou Liang, okay? So Zhou Liang went up there, and he was fighting this English guy, right? And this guy's got a long reach, right? And Zhou Liang said, man, I was having a problem. I got hit a few times, and basically, he won the first match. But the second match, I saved face with Qingwu. I went there and knocked the other guy down. And he came back to me. He asked me one question. He said to me, how come the Chinese traditional martial art are like this today? Obviously, our ancestors invented the Kung Fu. They would have worked in those days. Why wouldn't it work now? And I said, maybe the way they're training it, maybe the way they lost the way of conditioning, gonglik, and all that stuff like that. And they're more concentrated on form, because when you think about it, right, the forms keep a lot of students interested in the art, which is great, but we're lacking on the application, the real application, and that's something that that we don't have since the Cultural Revolution, or that the communists to stop a lot of this training, and we kind of degraded in the way that it's everyone just go there and do forms. I mean, you can be a Sifu just learning all the forms.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
that's been my whole spiel in the past. Like, forms to me don't make you a Sifu.
Well, you know,
It's only the culture that's gonna. Sure, we all know that you got to learn all these forms, all these weapons, the Hei Gong, and all the philosophy. Yes, yeah, you know a lot of knowledge, but to me, if you haven't fought or even looked like sparring, there's no way you're going to pull it off. And that brings up, you talked about breaking the distance between the kicker and yourself.
yeah.
In Chalgar or in Mantis, how do they bridge that gap from? I know they got kicks anyway, right? But are they mostly low line kicks in Mantis, or they're high kicks?
Well, Mantis is basically like a passive system. I mean, that, you know, the Muay Thai and, you know, Muay Thai and kickboxing and, you know, stuff like that, boxing, they kind of go, oh, a jab, I'm going to actually, you know, give it to you, you know, I'm going to dish it out, right? So you're going to defend yourself, and, you know, people put their hands up. Our system is open the bridge, okay, to invite you in. So we extend our bridge, and then you come in the center line. We're going to start chopping, right? Destructive. System like Wing Chun, they go in the center line, and they want to go left gate, right gate, right? So it's still passive in a way, because 你不來我不發, you don't come, I don't start. 你來我即發. If you come, I go straight away. But it's still a passive thing, you know.
It means you're still waiting for them. And if you're waiting for them to punch, you're now on the defense. See?
Well, technically, you're sending a message, you're on the defense, aren't you? Okay, because in Chinese Kung Fu, we don't advocate fighting. It's only a self-defense stuff, all right? So we're not going to ring and kill each other, they're Muay Thai guy, right? We basically, you know, if you pick on me, I'm going to use my Kung Fu on you. And when you start, I'll start, you know? And
but
so
that might be where the problem is.
Well, that is a philosophy, because in Chinese, we don't pick on fights. You know, we want to be harmonious, right? We don't want to go and start fighting or that be a fuck, right? So in Kung Fu culture, you learn how to control yourself, self-control, and you try to diffuse the problem, the situation, before you put your hands up and fight. Now, so all this system now is basically from what I've learned in Chinese martial art is defensive mode. It's something like I'm going to come in there and I'll start chopping in, right? Like Benny the Jet saying, we're going to start chopping in, you know, we're going to get to work, you know, and you don't have that sort of mentality. That's the first thing that we don't have, that sort of mentality. But I don't think that was always the case, because a long time ago, they would have had war in China. I mean, my tribe is from, it's actually not from Zhongshan, from the south. We're actually from Henan province, south of Yarra River. My surname actually not Lee, it's An, okay?
That's where Grandmaster Duway is from, Zhongshan.
He's from Zhongshan, but my ancestors from a long time ago is from central China. I'm the real Han Chinese, the central Chinese, you know. But I'm from Kaifeng, right? Which is but we moved to Zhongshan. Well, you know, I'm probably about 36th generation. We're from the Song Dynasty. It's all recorded in Zhokpo, which is the ancestral book. Okay, so I don't want to go too far on my ancestry, right? But I'm just talking about this. This is how Chinese culture is. You know, we're very peaceful people. We're not trying to go and, you know, bully people and things like that. But you know, like I said, you know, Kung Fu. At some stages, you have to use your hand, and you got to defend yourself. But today's world is different. You know, you got guys that goes and train arts that is it's on attacking mode. So if you just on defensive, you're always going to be on defensive mode. Like I don't know, how well your destructive technique is, right? You got to wire out your destructive technique. if you are doing 1, 2, 3, 4 like that in the form, you're not gonna hit anybody, because the guys today are too fast, too fast. I'm not talking about back in the days of my dad's day in the village. You know, a few fucks come in and ruin his restaurant, and he started to fight with them. He kicked their asses. It's not like that. These guys that we have now.
They're trained fighters. Like, this is the difference.
Yeah.
Western boxing from day one, you're learning how to jab, you're learning footwork, body and head movement, defense. It's a complete, that's why they call it the sweet science of boxing. And there's no reason why Kung Fu shouldn't be the ultimate sweet science, because there's more philosophy that can be used and more hand techniques than boxing, because boxing's got about 8: jab, cross, uppercuts, hooks, and overhands, right? But most Kung Fu people, if they're not sparring and they're only doing push hands, or they do the gong sound, they oh, stop that, your face, I would have got you. You don't know if that would have even knocked them out, right? And that's the difference. You've got to be able to pull the trigger, and if you're not hitting things to develop the muscle groups and connection of, like you said, feedback in the first part, all the forms in the world and all this shock power is never gonna, it's just gonna tickle someone.
It's not gonna cut it for the real world. Okay, I'm not putting down even on what I learned, right? But you know, you do comparisons, right? If you haven't even done comparison with people who train in the gym, this semi-pro fighter or pro fighter, you don't know. I mean, I got invited into a gym where they train all these fighters, because one of my students actually into MMA, right? So I got invited to see all of this stuff like that. And you know, they were mucking around. They were just like, they were working very hard every day. It's like going to work, you know. So they're professional trained fighters. They're not the guy that you can pull, a technique, 1 or 2 techniques are going to work in your form. It's not going to happen like that. It's too fast. I mean, blink of an eye, he's already 2, 3 punches at you. It's on a different mindset, you know. And that's, you know, we get in there and we go, oh yeah, okay, let's go, you know. And that's why most of the guys get smashed in the ring, you know, like on the cage, you know, and they wonder why, you know. I don't think they go in there to lose, you know, and I don't think they're not trained. They're trained in the system for 20, 30 years.
I also think that they ride on the coattails of the dead masters and the style's name. You know, you mentioned, oh, Bap May, you know, and it's all the movies on Bap May. And we had, when my student Tan fought Choi Lee Fat, Bap May guy fought some other style next in the ring and got smashed. So style and dead masters don't fucking cut it with me. You got to put the hard work in. You got to train like a fighter. You got to think like a fighter. You got to eat like a fighter. You got to shit and sleep like a fighter. Look at boxers are up at 4 a.m. and they're doing 10Ks or 5 to 10Ks in cardio. Same as kickboxers, same as Thai boxers, right? From day one, they're learning how to strike. What most Kung Fu are doing is they wait for the punch and then they'll attack the arm or try to smash it. But you get, like you said, there's people that have fast jabs and hooks. You don't know where it's going to come.
They move forward and back and all of that. And if you don't got endurance, all right, like the first thing that I, you know, when I was a kid, listening to Bruce Lee say, you know, he jogs for miles. He does really rapid, you know, running and then stop, rapid, run, rapid, stop, you know. So this is all enduring, you know, the attribute that you need, right? So, but most Kung Fu people will think, I'll go in there, few seconds, I'm going to shut him down.
No.
What happened? You don't shut him down. What happened? You haven't shut him down, and that's the major problem. Is that there's no endurance, and you see most of the guys that knocked out. It's like the first 20 seconds they're really into it, and then after 30 seconds, flat. You know, like there's nothing there.
So we also know, I know, our hammer fist is one of our most destructive weapons in Haka, and if we can land it, it's going to do damage. But you got to land it.
You got to land it, right? Like all the tools, right? They got the tools, and we got our tools, right? We just got to land it, right? Now, I remember my brother. He was a good Wing Chun player, like, and You know, he said to me when I was young, he said to me, you have to have the courage to close the gap. What do you mean have the courage to close the gap? Just close the gap. No, you've got to have the courage to close the gap. If you know your opponent can punch and kick really hard, you have to close the gap to do your to right on top of their bridge, and then you react, right? So you got to wedge in. That's what you say. You got to wedge in the Wing Chun. But most Wing Chun guys nowadays, you see them, they lose. The reason why, because they start in Chong Chui, they try to get into the gap, right? Try to close the gap, trying to get into the trapping range and start doing their stuff, and they got knocked out. Before they even do that, they got knocked out. Like, why? Because
the problem that I see with, and same with Butt May, Yolkamong, all these centerline punches, they're done from the heart, and even if they're going high, but they're way open. Why they're trying to do chain punches, you're just going to get fucking hooked every time with me. You rush in with this, I'm just going to check left hook. I mean, it's very simple. I think,
you know what?
I think we've been taught that, or lots of people have been taught to do it wrong. They're rushing in like this, and the opponent's not even there.
Yeah, look,
They're not picking the time to fake it and then bang, 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 bang.
bang, right?
They're out of range and they're trying to come in like this.
They're trying to come in the range and it's too late. Now, what makes it a lot more difficult now is that, right? Before, the people that, you know, we trap in there, we do our things like that, we got an advantage, right? Because we've got beyond the kicking and punching range, and we're in the trap, and we start doing our stuff, and we're an expert in this sort of stuff. But the problem is that within that 1.5 second or split second, he doesn't want to play trap. He starts to load his platform and whack straight away. You're on the ground now, right? Yeah. So basically, that a lot of Wing Chun people, or Mantis people, I see them. They can't even do their stuff. They're already like inside control and on the ground, and then they have to fight for their life on the ground. Okay, so because the multi-skill these people have now, and I'm talking about the exposure of UFC and MMA. I sat there one day in the sports bar, and I'm watching a bunch of kids, watching this UFC fight. Mate, they're all bloody experts. They know what's going to happen. They even know the techniques and all that. But none of them actually train, but they already know because it's been playing in their mind, and they know exactly what to do. So, well, you've got to turn around and it's 3/4, go give them the rechoke, and then And you're thinking, oh, how do they know all of this? We didn't know that was a kid, but they've been exposed to that. So a lot of people that train in those gyms, they're multi-talented, right? They're multi-skilled. So it's a lot harder for us to get them. But I'm not saying it's impossible, but you have to change the way you're in combat, the way you train. If you train the traditional way, that's fine. You want to get, like, I know Hang Ma and all this stuff like that. You get your muscles. Like, Chinese are very smart, Before we have this white system, we're using dynamic tensioning and build that sinew, muscles, tendon, okay? And then they start lifting weight in Shaolin Temple. But, we can do various ways to get muscles and all of that. And they're very, very, very smart. So we have these forms to train when you've got no one to train with, all right? So that's logical, okay? But when you've got someone to train with, it's better to train with a live Zhong than a wooden dummy, because live is live, isn't it? Absolutely. Now, if you've got two persons the same type of skill, same type of energy and power, both would just rise up very quickly, like my brother and I, right? If I have someone weaker than me, then I have to wait for him to get really strong, and then he would give me enough pressure for me to rise myself up in power-wise, right? So, like I said, Chinese Kung Fu is great, fantastic, but we need to
up the
revisit.
We need to
up the ante, right? So how do we do that? Sometimes I've thought about all of this. How do you train a fighter? The first excuse when I met a lot of Chinese masters, Chinese Kung Fu, we don't wear gloves. Wear gloves, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I'm saying, yeah, but if you can wear gloves and still can penetrate, then your Kung Fu is very good, isn't it?
Yeah.
They all stop talking, isn't it? They all just looked at me real funny because they said, "Why does this guy want to wear gloves and fight somebody when we don't wear gloves to fight?" You know, or you can't claw. Well, you've got an MMA gloves. You still got, you've got your fingers through the gloves. You still can grab, but
And we got to also got to look at, okay, street fighting for your life is not exactly the same as going in competition, right? But the competition,
of course, there's rules there.
The competition training will leak into your everyday self-defense or self-protection.
Absolutely.
But doing the forms isn't enough, in my honest opinion. Look at judo, worked it out, right? Judo, and they go, okay, we need a partner to do throws, locks, nawaza on the ground. You got kendo, they play with sticks with helmets on and everything. You've got wrestling. They can't be a good wrestler without a partner to wrestle with. Boxing, you can't be a good boxer unless you're boxing someone. Kung Fu is the complete fucking opposite.
I know. And it's funny how you brought this up. I have friends that I know for 20, 30 years, okay, in Sydney, okay, in Hong Kong as well. They actually don't train Kung Fu anymore. It's a shame. And they're from a very, prominent styles. Like I'm talking about Wei Crane, Black Tiger Gay, Hong Kong and all that. They in their 40s now, someone in their 30, 40, they actually train BJJ. And I asked them, why? Why do you train BJJ? He said, because the mateship, the help you get.
Yeah, the teamwork and like if you're a lower level, even in judo, even in everything, boxing, whatever, you don't go hard on a beginner. You help them.
So yeah, exactly. So
light sparring. That's what light sparring is all about.
There's no bloody secret. That's what he said to me. If you want to learn something, they will show you how to do it. All right, it's up to your ability to train to get that. There's no secrecy. But in Chinese Kung Fu, it's like, okay, you come in to train. I like to teach you. I don't want to teach you. You go in the corner and do something, and the Sifu never really explain much to you. It's just do it, okay? So that's how we got taught. Just do it, okay? But this day people will ask questions because it's a new era, right? Information era. People will ask questions, and the Sifu say, "Oh, you're not up to that level. I'm not going to teach you. There's 3 levels of this system, and and we're not going to teach you the second, third level until you get the first level right." But he's just asking a genuine question. How do you do this? Do you have to go 4 or 5 steps to do this movement to break someone's arm, or do you just go one movement? And in jiu-jitsu, they do that in one movement. They're not going to break it 3 or 4 times and make a form out of it and say, "Oh, that's how you break your hands." They don't do that. So I can understand when I have a conversation with my friends in other style, and they said to me, "Oh, we're not doing that." And basically, a lot of politics involved as well, because if you're not from the direct line, or you're on sideline or whatever, and you're not, like it's the status thing, Yeah. In Chinese Kung Fu, there's a lot of status things. And I am trained by such and such master. First thing they throw is the resume, right? It's I've been trained this and that and that and that, But you don't see that in jiu-jitsu people. They don't. They say, "I'll just train myself," and they help me get the black belt.
Oh yeah, and you can go from one skill to another in BJJ, judo, wrestling, and they're all welcoming. Kung Fu is, "Oh, you're from that other style. What are you doing here learning this style? Are you trying to steal our art?" Are you fucking kidding me, man?
Well, it's like me going to Hong Kong to learn Chuklam, okay?
Yeah.
The first teacher I had is basically they want to teach me because I'm not Hakka. And you've open up to Grandmaster to open up to all the foreigners, right? But in other Hakka, they're not that open to even in Chinese, even the same surname as Lee, And it took me a while to convince him that I'm worthy to learn this. But at the same time, I was being frank. I actually had Tonglong training from a different style. So
Yeah.
what? So bloody what, you know? But I'm thinking from a Chinese Australian, you know, more Australian Chinese mentality. But these old Hakka people, they're not like that. So it took me a while to understand. Oh, that's how they operate. Like you have to just sit in the corner there and do whatever he teaches you. You can't ask him that much question. So it's like that. But it's a different thing. But now, like this new era of MMAs and multi-skillful things like that. And people say, "Oh yeah, they just find the cage and they find you can't hit the back of the head, you can't do this, you can't jab the eyes, you can hit the throat, you can't kick the balls." Okay, that's fine. But you know what? It's like you can't even make bloody contact, let alone try and do all this stuff, because the guys won't letting you do that.
But not only that, if you're good at Kung Fu, you should be able to adapt to any sport rules, right?
Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
if your Kung Fu is good and say, okay, no hitting the back of the head or the throat, no eyes, they still get poked in the eyes, even in MMA, and they stop the fight. But you need to, like all Kung Fu, like there's so much headgear you can buy, forearm pads, chest pads, leg pads. I mean, come on, guys. We should be able to have a spa and just like the whole school should be able to, like even Hapkido, we used to do heaps of sparring. Like Kung Fu's the only one, not all Kung Fu, but most, say 98% of Kung Fu. It's about the form and the weapons, the lion dance, the tita, the Hei Gong, and it's like, well, is there any part of this where I'm going to?
Well, that's I could be fair to. There's so much to do in Kung Fu that you cannot concentrate on just concentrate on fighting. The real self-defense that you need. Look, I don't know what people go to Kung Fu classes for, right? Some are just like the form, some like the culture, some like the health benefit because they sit around watching TV all day. Some just like to fight. I don't know what they want, but in jiu-jitsu and all that, right? What I can see them, they put in a lot of hard work. They're working with one another, and that's how Kung Fu should be. Not just doing empty hand forms and doing all the other stuff like that. And like getting back to weapons, tell you another story too, okay? When I was in Hong Kong, I went to a guy called Lancelot Chan, and they call him the Do Wong, because he played with sword. He used to make all this weapon that, realistic weapons that looks like same way it's a real weapon, but it's made from rubber or foam or something like that. So I went to visit Lancelot, as in Mongol, right? So I went up there and looked at him, and by that time I already knew a 3 or 4 swords, sets and all of that. And he brought in the swords, he's got a whole range of European and Chinese swords, real one, And he took it out, it's sharp, it's really sharp, right? And he showed me some video that they go up to the rooftop and they have jewel,
Mm.
And he asked me, he said, you do you want to go up there and have a go? And I said, I'll just come up and watch, And he said, no, it's okay, I said, I watch all this stuff he's played in front of me in the videos, before we went up there, and I said, there's nothing look like the form. There isn't. Because the drill is bang, 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 bang. That's it. You cut, that's it. Whether you chop, stop, cut, whatever, that's it. There's none of this dancing around, doing all this other thing. They are just artistic expression of the Chinese martial art. And that's what he told me. And he's Chinese, right? So, and I said to him, Chinese weapon, Japanese katana, German swords and all of that, which is better, You know what he said to me? The longer the sword, the better. And he proved to me with all this video, and he was fighting with all the other guys.
So the Wu Dip Do is never going to work against a longer sword. We've had this discussion before, I think. Right?
I found this long ago, right? Because I love the butterfly swords and I love the sai. I really love it. like so cool the weapon, But I remember going to tense martial art. It was taken by a free Polish guy, and so they basically invited me to this place where they do Polish sword fighting, and they would use the cane. They make a cane with the sword, the European sword, and they were fighting all this like that. And so anyway, I went to have a look at it, and I thought, yeah, like that was stop, like, but they were really concentrating on what we were doing. They were just on the drill, the bang bang bang, and stop, and I thought, what's that for? Let's go hit. Oh, really? That was that fast, And I'm going, okay. So one day I went back to his shop and he goes to me, John, it's in the car park inside, there's a car park lot, right? And he said, pick your weapon. So he's got all this Chinese weapon there because he saw, all this stuff. I picked a butterfly sword. Guess what? His sword's like longer than a meter or something like that. I charge in with sword because you have to close the gap with butterfly sword. No, he just cut you. The longer the weapon, and you know what? He's from Japanese martial arts as well. He plays aside as well. And he said to me, John, it doesn't work that well. No. Some of the longest sword is going to cut you. You may think he just moved back and just start chopping. Like
I think butterfly sword versus stick, as in short stick or a knife, the butterflies will work. But anything longer, you're going to have a hard time. Like there's so many.
I think it's been glorified. When I went to Daipang village, right, in Shenzhen, right, when the Portuguese and the Dutch came to invade China, the Qing soldier would have? They had a long sword, and they had a butterfly sword. They had bow and arrows, right? So they had a range of weapons with them. So if they lost the long sword, the last resort they bring up the butterfly sword. Yeah. But it's been glorified in the movie. That's the butterfly sword can win the longest sword. I've been through this with land sword, and it just laughed. He said, "You can try it."
But that's
like seriously.
You got the two-man forms like double butterfly versus the staff.
Staff, right? Yeah.
You get a real heavy pole, a good solid wood, and hit someone with a butterfly sword, you're going to shatter their arms and wrists.
Exactly. This is what happened, right? I'll tell you that because I learned Filipino martial art from John Summerfield, right? So I'm very good with arnistics. And then one day I brought the rattan, right? And I went up to my brother. He had a sword, right? And I was showing him all this drill, and it looked so cool, And Michael said to me, "Does that really work against a sword?" So he brought this sword out, right?
Sorry, everyone. Didn't keep an eye on the timer. I cut off Sifu John. So we'll take off where we were. You're doing the arnistics with your brother.
Yeah, I mean, when you learn arnis and all of that, you're gonna get your, rattan, and you're gonna go like that. You do sinawali and all the other stuff, right? It looks really cool. You hit a strip and get your pole off, right? I've done all that bloody stuff. Okay, so I used my rattan stick. He just brought a broadsword. Okay, it's not even sharp, right? It's just a blunt broadsword, but the broadsword was very heavy. He came in whack whack, and I'm trying to block. Even the block that it shatters. So like a really good hard pole hitting down a butterfly sword, you're gonna shatter. You gotta have strong wrist. But the thing is that he's got more reach than you. You kind of close in on him, he starts to move back and start whacking. You're going to take those hits. Now, very funny, I brought something to show you. You see? These are my Kali arnistics. They were given to me by my student who is a professional arnist player, right? He goes to the Philippine Training Masters. These are the real arnistic. They're heavy. They're from iron butt wood, which is they're not able to cut down these trees anymore. So I'm really grateful that I got a pair of these. Very heavy. You cannot maneuver that fast with this. But I'll tell you what, you can take a sword. When it comes in, you block, the sword comes down, you won't get shattered like those rubbish rattan stick. That is the real stuff, right? The real McCoy, right? Now, if you didn't learn from going to the grandmaster, learn Philippine, and they used to fight with Spanish, right, with the swords and all that. If you didn't do that, you just go on to some classes and they give you some bad tanks. They give you a false security, you know, that you're gonna block somebody with a sword. Come on, no, it doesn't happen like that. Michael used, you know, the chopper that we cook.
Yeah.
And he chops up. As a kidney with a chopper, it came straight under at 12 o'clock and boom, I stopped it. Yes, did it cut through? No, it blunt a little bit of it, took a little bit of the skin off, or the wood off, but it hasn't chopped it right off either. You imagine you doing that. So you see, that's why like, going back to my Cecil, right? It's told me one thing. He said he went to the other seminar, and the guy said that he's got he's got the rubber knives and all these other knives, knife disarming and all this stuff like that, right? And everyone, 20 people in the seminar going, wow, this is fantastic. They're all doing this drill until someone brought out a real knife, sharp, a 12-inch blade, take it off me.
Well, that's the problem I have with this, and anyone doing knife defense. It's not like you see in drills, and I can't accept it. I won't accept it. I've had people pull out knives. I've fought against knife, but there's no drill that came out. I just punched the fucking guy in the face, dropped him.
It's simple. You just dropped him, right? You got to find that opportunity to enter, and that's it. You go.
You got to be able to pull. You got to be able to pull the trigger. I was even kidnapped once in the Philippines.
Yeah.
With a guy with a knife in my throat, one in my ribs, and they took me into a banana plantation. I thought I'm going to die here. I was only 19, and I saw my whole life in front of my eyes, every single moment. And they robbed me for $20. That's all I had. And as one put his knife in his pocket at the back, the other one's looking through my bum bag.
Yeah.
And as he's doing that, the other guy walked around this hut, and I just went boom,
whack,
and dropped this guy. And as he's trying to get up, I soccer kicked him in the head, and I was off down this fucking dirt path, and a pig truck.
That's right.
A pig truck, and I'm crying and I'm yelling for help. And I'm in this little village. I thought I'm going to die. Not even my family knew where I was.
Yeah.
Right. And as I come to the highway, this truck pulled up. I was waving him down, and it was full of pigs. And I jumped on the back of the fucking truck, and I said, just fucking go. And he took off. And then about a mile down the road, he pulls over, and I hopped in the front. And he said, never go in the Philippines anywhere by yourself. And that was the first lesson ever. I saw my whole life.
Well, I know. It's so bizarre. Like, when I used to play the form, the empty hand against the swords and all that, various styles got that, And I used to think about all this, it's just got close to it, and it's not even, they're controlling the wrist and all of that, right? The sword's coming down, it looks fantastic, the form, right? But does it really, really work like that? No, and I think one day I was in Hong Kong, and I'm talking to a Chuklam elder, I said, I said, can you actually use empty hands to stop the chopper, And he said, you think this is a movie? And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, you know what happened to him? He said, look, in some so-called, like, in some so-called, it's very, very rough area in Hong Kong in those days. I'm talking about in the 60s, right? And still it is. And he said to me, he came down the stairwell, and there's 4 guys come charging up with the bloody chopper, and they're gonna make mincemeat out of this guy, right? He said, I'm a kung fu, my kung fu is very good, And I thought, Sifu, you must have fought them, with your hand in the air. Bullshit. He ran.
Absolutely.
And he said, I jumped. Yeah, he said, I just ran. I had to run all the way up to the tin pan, right, which is the rooftop. I jumped from one building to the other building because he was light. He jumped across the building to get away from them. So basically, basically in the movie, he said, like, Yip Man, one guy fought 10 guys. Seriously, guys, it's a movie. Come on, like for real, like recently, right? And unfortunately, recently, right? On that junction, right? A guy says, like he's psychotic. He pulled a knife out, started knifing everyone. Like a 30-inch blade, right? And it's funny, Some of my friends would say, "Oh shit, I'm gonna make mincemeat out him, If he touched my family like that, I would have killed him or that." And I said, "How? He's got a knife." Seriously. And I said, well, look for the clips, right? Because they block most of these horrible, images. As everyone's running away, I saw one thing that can neutralize this guy. I know that the French guy would use the bulldog and trying to just keep him at bay so he won't move up to this escalator. But I saw one thing's really cool. Because I'm in the polishing, cleaning, and finishing industry. I saw the actual cleaner ran away, so he left the trolley there, and there was 2 broomsticks. That's your neutralizer.
Yeah,
if you know how to use a pole,
exactly.
You use that.
That's exactly what would be used to fight someone with a knife to keep them at bay. But if if you don't know how to use a pole, even you're still going to get cut. And that whole incident at Bondi, most of the people that talk like that and say, I would have done all this, there's no way, because when you're seeing people dead, bleeding out, and you don't know them, do you have a right to go and try and fight this guy that's killed all those people, or do you run as well?
All those innocent people just... Yeah, and it happens so quickly, Sometimes, like I said, we go to class and everyone's got, man, look at my pole, 6 foot something tall, solid bloody wood, and I'm doing my form and all this. I feel really good, really great, I thought, you know what? That is false. Why don't you go and train with a broomstick? Because if something happened like that, just take up a broomstick, knock the broom, off, whatever off. It just uses a pole. Now, okay, the pole is not tall and long, or that maybe level eye to your eyebrow, but it's good enough. If you know how to play this pole form, practically just using that against one another, you will get a sense of, okay, I can use this. Even this is not a wood or one of those metal or plastic one, you still got a neutralizer. Now, people bring up the chairs. That's a really good neutralizer. But empty hand, years ago, I went to Campbell Parade in Bondi Beach, right? And I was doing a lot of this thing for the artists, sealing all this sandstone thing. Right? Guy came out with a knife and knifed one guy. And this guy was running. The cops came in with the tasers and stuff like that. And, even with the taser, you know how fast a guy with a knife can close the gap? It's unbelievable.
I think Dan and Asado proved, I saw a clip somewhere where a guy was drawing his gun to shoot, and the guy with the knife was able to get him before he could even get a shot off.
Yeah.
From a few yards, he was able to close that distance and get a couple of stabs in before he can draw it out to shoot. And I know there's a lot of people that can, boom, 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 cowboy style, but if you don't use the gun that often, even,
mate, look, I got friends who's in the police force, they often go and train the pistol, It's not that, if you're under pressure, under stress, and you have to pull it out and you got to shoot this guy, you go for the heart, people say, oh, I've got to shoot the leg and shoot the arm. Bullshit. You go for the heart.
It's always
you're under threat.
Yeah, I used to I used to carry a gun when I was doing cash in transit and bodyguard. I used a Glock, so I had to do all the firearms every month as well, practice. And if that's probably why I wouldn't be a cop, because I'll end up shooting someone. That'll be the first thing I do. I'll fuck you then, boom.
Well, that's it. I mean, you know, like it's like I just getting back to weapons trainings and all that. They're fantastic. They give you a lot of coordination.
Flexibility, timing.
Yeah,
It's a two-man set. Yokomun has a double daggers versus empty hand.
yeah, yeah. And it's fantastic. It's beautiful to
Oh
play. And
no, they come in like this, and they grab the hand and they flip them over the back.
yeah.
It's never going to happen in reality. You get flipped on your back and stabbed to death, you know. Let's be fucking real here, bro. You know.
I know, and that's just why that we you know, like when I went to Lancelot, he said to me, John, he said, you can play all your bloody sets, but when it comes to really the duel, and we're using weapon that's replica to the real thing, the weight, size, and all that, and you grab it, and and when you grab your butterfly sword against my long sword, you're gonna be losing because you already know that. Because you can see that other people grab this and then it had double axe and stuff like that, and this guy, it cuts on the bastard swords, and my長一寸險一寸, the longer 1 inch, the danger it gets, the danger increases, right? So that's what it means, right?
You're looking at the centrifugal force of a swing like a baseball bat, with a pole, and especially if it's a hard pole, it's gonna hurt,
I don't know, like the side to me is like in the emperor, the guards, you should get the criminal and just lock their arm up and all that. But these guys are empty hand, Of course, you got a weapon, you're going to be more advantage to them, right? But the thing is that the Japanese use the side. They used to throw it at the horse and trap the leg. The horse fell, and then they use the samurai sword to go back. So it's not really a main weapon going stuff to block swords. And like I'd rather a katana anytime. If you give me a pair of that's just me. That's my opinion.
Well, the Japanese sword, if I'm correct, have only got about 8 or 9 cuts.
Yeah.
Right. I did kendo for about a year. I loved it because you put the armor on and you hit each other. I mean, that's what men love to do, right? This is what Kung Fu should be about. You get roughed up, you get hit, you got armor on, and you learn through making the mistake. Shit, that was a real cut. I would have been dead,
Yeah, because you experience that there's interaction, there's hitting on you, like you can feel it, even your arm, you can feel
it. But there was never a time I've grabbed the sword and started doing like this and defending and like.
It's too slow. It's so fast. It's unbelievable. It doesn't look any fancy. Like I look the Lancelot thing that you sent me. It doesn't look nice at all. It doesn't look anything like a real martial art, with all the forms and nothing like that. It's about bang bang bang. That was it, and so fast you go, oh shit, you got cut, and and beat. And I said, Lancelot, how do you know he's got cut? He said, look at the clip, he's got cut. He said, when you get cut, that's it. You drop your sword. You're not going to fight for another 20 minutes in the movie. You're not going to do that,
I saw a horrible clip where there was these guys on the corner of the street. I don't know where they were. It could have been Vietnam or somewhere. And the bikes come and they jumped off the bikes with the meat and chopping the guy's arm off. I think 3 of them were dead. They were just laying there trying to stop machetes and that. Like, it's real serious shit. Like, and that's why if you're not practicing your Kung Fu in any way of a combat mindset, I feel sorry for you.
Exactly. Could you imagine you playing hand-to-hand and sword, and all of a sudden the first thing you know, you must remember, oh, I'm going to stop it with my bare hands. You're crazy. I'll pick up a chair and put that in front of me first. That's the first thing I would do. You know, I've got nowhere to go. I'm trapped. That's the first my first defense, my equalizers. You know, so you know, again, it's all about muscle memory. You know, I can't stress more than that, though. How you train is how you fight. You know, if you want to get real, you got to train real. You know, like I don't know how much time you withstand within about 4 hours or 3 hours, 2 hours of training, but you have to spend a great amount of time to sharpen your hands while your hands up, because if you're a peace-loving person and you just do this as a hobby, just go and do your forms and all that, I don't. There's nothing wrong with it, right?
Yeah.
But if you're working in the security, you're part of the police force or law enforcement, right? Or you're part of the triad, right? I don't want to mention the names, right? You're part of the triad, you have to sharpen your hands. They mean business, they're for real, you know? So as a kid, I've seen a lot of this stuff in Chinatown.
Yeah, there was one restaurant where the triads came in and had their meat cleavers and did a whole lot of damage to people back in the 80s or 70s, I think.
Yeah.
In Chinatown, if I remember. It's not uncommon. We don't hear much about it, but it's very common. Home invasions as well. If you're not ready, and like I've got weapons always strategically placed around my house, from axes to meat cleavers. If I jump into one room, if I'm being attacked, I've got a weapon there. I'm always thinking like that, you know, you can't be caught sleeping or slipping even, you know, like. Real life.
No, it actually said to society had gone that way, you know, to be honest, you know.
That's where the world is headed. Everyone,
well, you know,
everyone's carrying a knife outside. Everyone's getting robbed now these days. The inflation's gone up so much, people can't live. They're desperate, and desperate people will do fucking the most horrendous things. And if you're not switched on, if you can't pull the trigger, if you haven't trained in any way in a combat mindset, forget it. Kung Fu is beautiful. I love all the forms, but there is a limit. They have to do something else. The traditional arts like we do and that needs to be rethought about. Spend as much time on your forms as you do with sparring, and you'll see that your Kung Fu forms will be so much better because you understand how to use some of the movements out of the form. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the movements, it's not just 1, 2, 3, 4 technique. It's not like that. You can't use this sort of mentality, this sort of thing. It has to flow. It has to interchange. You're able to swap from one hand to another. You have to wire it up. It's not like that. You know, you can't do like that because in reality, it's not going to happen like that. So,
I believe all hammer fists are way too slow. If your hammer fist has to be as fast as a jab. Otherwise, don't throw it. You're going to get smashed and break your arms if you haven't even conditioned.
Years ago, I don't want to mention the group that actually had this this thing on the hammer fist, you know, sparring or that. They couldn't even get the hammer fist connected, you know.
It's telegraphed as well. If you do it wrong, it's telegraphed.
But the connection of it, like, you know, even closing the gap to get that punch in there, they would throw mindlessly with hammer fist. I mean, you're not going to get the person. That's because as soon as you lift up, you already know you're going to do. Like, the thing is that the hands movements and all of that, right, is very elusive. If you can make it very elusive, you can't read where your hand is, where you're going to start punching and kicking and moving, it's harder for them to read you, you know? This is what I love about the mantis as well, because there's very little movement. But to get short movement, get the power, like a longer movement, it's a lot harder because the longer movements are going to wipe someone out, right? You're going to really penetrate. The shorter movement, you're not going to get the same power. I don't care how you, because you've got the candle with the advantages, you know, with the arm like that, swing like that. So, you know, short movements got their own usage, you know, when you get close. But the thing is, when you get close, it's always over because guys already got you. Because it's longer reach is going to hit you. Like
well, that's the problem. Haka arts are based on the bridge, mostly on the arm bridge.
Well, technically, the man has trained that bridge to extend. So we've got the deal gang, which is hanging gang, right? So it's a platform for us to fire those short movement, okay? But you see, you still have to have medium type of movement, longer movement, short movement. You got to mix and match. Like you got to mix it up a little bit. You know, you can't just have short movement.
But if you're leaving your arms out way too long, right?
Yeah.
In to start a fight like this, if you can't see, I always teach striking before bridging.
Like, yeah, well, you know, like technically, you know, I'll stick my hand out like that. No, I'm moving my hand. I don't just stand there like that because you see a lot of people, you know, mantis, right? When they get in the spot, they go.
Yeah.
And then the problem is that because they never get hit in their face like a boxer, they would tilt back. You notice a lot of people that when they fight, they start to tilt back their head. And they stick their arm out just to pat it. And that's not really mantis, but they're training mantis.
Because they're head shy, they've never been hit before, they're scared to get hit. Yeah. And again, if your arms are too far out, and it doesn't matter, you need to be able to retract to cover.
Exactly, you're not able to recover. So that's why you train the bridge to have power, you know, in all extensions, like short, medium, you know, close, you know. Yeah. I mean, you know, if something pin me like that, and I can actually push it out with my jaw and the power push it out. But if I don't have that sort of power, then I have to find other ways to go around it. I have to use turns my body to do certain things. So it depends, right? It doesn't mean that you've got a strong bridge, you're going to win everything. Not like that. I mean, when I saw Lee Gotland do some of this stuff, it's unbelievable. You know, you think I can pin him on a stronger bridge, but he gets away with it. You know, he maneuvers his body the way it's like a snake. You can't get him. Like he's not there. Like, you know, probably one of the guys had most impact on me. You know, because I thought, you know, I'm going to get this guy because I was taller. You know, I was taller than him, I was longer, richer than him. Why would I not get him before he gets me? But his foot was so fast, just so fast moving in. But having that courage moving into a bigger person, you know, from a small person point of view, it takes a lot. Because for a bigger person moving in a smaller person, it's easy, you know. But for a small person moving in the big person and close the gap and do damage, it's like, it's pretty good, I think. You know,
and coming back to experience, that's the beauty of sparring. You're going to spar bigger guys and smaller guys the same size, and there's a whole different fight game against a bigger guy to get in to a smaller guy, right? That's a whole science behind it, and that's the downfall of Kung Fu. If you're not sparring or doing anything light even, in reality, it's not going to work for you. You won't be able to pull the trigger. You're not going to know your stepping, your footwork, timing, distance, angles.
Yeah.
And if you're stuck standing like this and you think you're moving your hands, but your legs are dead, think again. You're going to get kicked every friggin' time.
Yeah, because he's going to fake a thing, and when you move, he's reading your reaction. Bang! He's set it up, right? Set it up and just hit you. It's a science. It's like I'm thinking about, you know, it's not how much techniques you know. It's a group of techniques you know back to front, and you're able to bring it out in different combination right? That's most important. Like you know, the guy, you know, like train 1,000 times on one kick, you know, and we all laugh at this. Yeah, high kick. You kick me high, I'll kick your balls and eat your horse. You know,
Eat your balls, kick your horse.
you know, really. I mean, in real life, is the guy kicked you. He's trained that kick to your head precision. You know, and like, you know, he knows how you trigger your body and he's going to kick you. He's going to get that target. This is practiced 1,000 times, right? So you know, it's not easy when people think, oh, you know, he kick high kicks, we do low kicks, we got to kick his balls and take his angle now, you know, we're going to do all of this. Seriously,
if you can kick high with good accuracy and power, you'll be able to do so much more damage when you kick low. Just because people learn to kick high doesn't mean they don't kick low. That's a full-on myth.
Well, you know, I said to people, like, you know, Li Ding, you know, Ding Ye, like, he knows Bruce Lee, right? He was young then, he was, you know, in the movie set. He said he already had a black belt behind him and he was really cool. And he wanted to try Bruce Lee. Before he even moved, Bruce went, whoa, the kick's right in his face already. Like that's how fast the kick is, you know? So if you get somebody now and saying, and he's pretend to be Bruce Lee doing the same thing, right? Doing the same Jeet Kune Do and all this stuff like that, but it doesn't cut it. Why? Because that individual had trained so hard and so powerful, so fast, the blink of an eye, he's already got you. Like most people that, you know, you know, Bruce Lee, probably not going to be as very good in MMA. I don't think so. He could be fantastic in MMA, you know? But just talking about, it was way ahead of his time because you can train that kick and the speed and intensity that win over techniques. It's simple like that. It's just a simple technique, a kick.
A lot of high kicks are hidden from the punch, right? So if I throw a lead leg front kick, I wouldn't just throw the kick. Jab and the kick's already underneath it, coming out.
Exactly.
So that's a decoy. Bang, boom, right? You got him.
And he judged the distance already. So you already know the distance. It's like that. Like when we're doing our Tonglong training in the pad, we know our distance. I know when I stopped up. I know when I don't get the connection. And it's not every hit you can get the connection. You're trying to increase that connection. Every time you train, every time you will get there. You know, first when people firstly train pad work, moving pad work, they're terrible. They can't connect and they get frustrated. And I said, now do this way, and then we'll start moving you. Then it builds up that sense of distancing and timing. Once you got that, and then you start to get connection, your power, you start to use your body mechanic, man, you know, once you got it, I know once something hit me really hard, you know, I'm carrying a pad and bang, I can feel it, you know, and I'm not just standing there to catch it, I'm moving. So again, it's all do with these training things and, you know, is repetition, you know.
I remember back in 1994, I was teaching at Surrey Hills Boys Scout Hall, and one of the students was holding the kicking shield, and we're doing side kicks. Bang! Caught him, broke his friggin' ribs through the fucking kicking shield. It's so powerful. Like these type of kicks are very powerful once they land. People don't realize Hapkido and Taekwondo are so fast with their kicks and their spins that it's like you take your head off. You know.
Yeah. Like you know, like to counter those kicks, you have to really sharpen your bridge and hands and like that, and you're gonna move, you know. You can't take a full 100% kick. You're gonna move
you gotta hook it and parry it
hook it, you gotta parry it, and you're gonna actually listen to the angle.
Never saw you kill a fucking high kick, that's for sure.
You know, so you know, there's a lot of ways to train your hands and your kicks and how when you move, you know, but you can't do that in a form. You have to do that live, and then say How do you do that? You just got to get a training partner and do it, and you don't kill one another. That's what I'm trying to say. You work up slowly to it. You know, just like you're doing your first gaucho, you're not going to hammer the guy that's the gaucho. You won't have any partner to train with. You know, so yeah, it's building up the level together, and then you will get to the level that's so good, eh? You know, I mean, who doesn't want your student better than yourself?
Yeah,
You know, like
that's the problem with Kung Fu again. Right?
keeping the last 2 pages.
If you kick your Hing's ass,
Yeah.
then you know that's wrong. You know, the Hing must be better for some reason. I don't know why. But even myself, I remember teaching Master Learn Chern a Guima, you know, the kneeling horse, from one of the subjects on how to do leg takedowns, and he was blown away.
Because he'd never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, because his technique was if you low kick, you jump back and Guima and knock the leg and come back up. I'm like, you break your arm against the kickboxer, Sifu, you know? And he goes, how would you use it? And I've gone, bang, leg takedown, like straight away. And he's like, oh my God, that's unreal. Like, just a Guaylo, right?
But you're looking at a different angle.
I've got the experience.
Experience on you know, on this sort of judos and all that, you can see it, you know. It's like you see, it's like I said, that you know, when I played that Punongo video to you, and you could see a lot of things in that Punongo, right? Where a lot of people that we play. I played that form a long time ago. I'm not very good at it, but I can see why you can explain to me, oh, this is what's going to happen, this is what's going to happen, this is the drill, this is the leg lock, this is the armbar, this is the flip over. I mean, you can see all of that, and I can't see all of that, and I'm thinking, wow, you know, I only know a couple of moves in that form that works that way, but you see more than me. Obviously, that it's your judo and your hapkido and all this other thing came into play, so you can see that kung fu form.
I was able to break down Yolkumun because of my previous experience.
Yeah, which is fantastic.
With Hapkido, because of all the locks, everything that's circular is a lock.
Yeah. Anything circular is a lock. Yeah.
And it's
absolutely.
And it's like when I started showing, you know, the Kumnao and the Yin Jiao, and I'm like doing arm locks and getting them into the certain holds, it's like, geez, where's this guy come from? You know, like, this is just normal basics, like, that should be known in Kung Fu. It shouldn't be 20 years later, I'm doing Mung Fu Chatlam, and it's like useless. Like, some of the forms are just useless. I can make up a better set.
Yeah.
I should be the grandmaster.
Well, you know, I don't know. I think that a lot of these things are made up because they might have a gongsa with somebody, and then they find out, oh, I've got to do like this, but you don't actually necessarily meet these sort of people going to play these sort of bridge hands, and you know, like, so you spend a lot of time doing this, but you're actually not going to fight an opponent that's going to play bridging. So what's the point? Like, you know, go and smash somebody. Destructive techniques better than this sort of bridging technique.
Well, that's it. That you look at Thai boxers, they kick, punch, elbow, come in, clinch, and they can throw you, knee the shit out of you. And here we are trying to fun sal and do all this bridge stuff that it's not going to work.
Ever. No. It's hard to make it work. It's hard to make it work. I mean,
the only way it works is in a self-defense situation where the guy's in front of you and you can get a paxal and bang, hit him. Look, my dad, I always grew up in competition. If at football, my dad was a Golden Gloves boxing champion at 15 at Gardens Road, and his best advice in a fight: hit first, ask questions later.
Yeah. Well, you know, like, I mean,
if you're not hitting first, you're on the defense. And
well,
if you're on the defense, it's fucked for you.
Well, that's why a lot of Kung Fu people get into trouble because, you know, fighting a Muay Thai guy, he's going to come and start dishing out his stuff out, and you got to stop it, right? And you're in defensive mode all the time. I mean, how many times can you actually stop these kicks and punches coming at you? Like, it's eventually going to get run in. So you must.
You can only check a couple of strong kicks before your leg's gone. Like in the UFC now, they're doing all these calf kicks. In Kung Fu, we call that the iron broom, right? It's been around for a long time, but no one's doing it.
No, they're just tapping it. They're not really serious about training against, like, I mean, they're tired to kick banana trees, and you know, look at those guys in China now. You know, they look. By the way, I think that I think Robert Chan also touched on that. You know, he's in Hong Kong. He said that, you know, in Hong Kong now, the Chinese, you know, the new generation only respect, you know, Muay Thai and, you know, MMA people. They don't look at Kung Fu people. I mean, in fact, a lot of Chinese foreign are going into the new generation to laugh at Kung Fu. You know, you know, and you know, the people like that actually able to go onto the ring and fight this, you know, Muay Thai people is actually from people like, you know, Daising Pekwa and all of that. And it just like in China now, everyone's into MMA and everyone's into Sanda, you know. And the reason why is that they could see this is working, you know. You know, in the ring in the octagon, but they can also see this working for real on the street. You know,
make no mistake. People go, "Oh, MMA guys that on a street fight, they're not going to be able to make any of it work." Are you kidding me? Because they can switch it to be a killer as well. You can be a killer. If someone came in and killed your wife or raped someone, you switch on, you want to kill them, right? So on the street, there's no difference. These trained fighters that hop in the ring and fight all the time, make no mistake that they'll kill you on the street.
Yeah, well, you know, that's the, you know, they go to work like that every day. You know, it's like it's walking the path for them. You know, so you know,
I think we're about to run out of time. Do you want to stop here and we'll do part 3 in another couple of days?
Yeah, another couple of days. Yeah, cool.
All right, brother. Have a great night. Thanks for thanks for popping back on. That was awesome again. Everyone else, we love our arts, and that's all we'd love to do is share what our experience is, and we got love for all Kung Fu. All right, peace out. Next time. Thanks, Johnny. See you, bud.
Thank you.